What is up, crew? Welcome to Seek the Edge with me, Kelsey Lensman, where our mission is to challenge you outside of your comfort zone so you can tap into and live the God-given potential inside. If you are in Ohio, at this time, the sun is shining. Well, it hasn't shined over the last 2 days, but the sun has been shining over this last month, and we are loving it. We feel literally the vitamin D going into our body and our mood rising and everything getting better. With the sun shining comes summertime. And many of us, as myself included, love summertime. We love changing routine. We love being able to go outside with friends. For me, I love taking Captain on a hike and being able to get tan. Oh, I love myself getting some tan. However, with summertime is because routine is different, because vacations happen and change of pace happens and less routine for some of you that especially have kiddos, it can throw people curveballs. And as we head into summertime, we want to be proactive versus reactive with how we are thinking about it. It's not just, I'll get back on my fitness after summer. It's not just, well, let me pause this and then starting on this date or this month, then I'll get back to it. Once again, we are changing from the identity level. It's not just well, I kind of do this when I feel like it. It's not just well, when it's convenient, I do these things. It's no, I am somebody that prioritizes my fitness. I am somebody that prioritizes my health. I am somebody that fuels my body well, no matter what season, no matter what consistency, no matter even if it's going towards a tangible X goal on a specific deadline. Because your health doesn't stop or doesn't start when summer stops or starts. Your health doesn't stop when a challenge stops. We want to live these values out, and we want to be able to incorporate these habits in our life, not for 6 weeks, not for 6 months, not even just for 6 years, but forever. And it's gonna look a little different. Okay, not every season is going to be track macros, hit the gym 5 days a week, but there are some things that we want to keep consistent no matter what season you're in, because it is just good to take care of yourself. You just need to take care of yourself. And if you're a client of mine or you've worked with me in any capacity, you know that I will never say you should do something, because who am I to tell you what you should do? However, this is something that I will say you need to take care of yourself. And sometimes I am a bigger advocate for you than you are for yourself. And sometimes I need to be the one to light that fire underneath your butt and tell you, no, we ain't just doing this when it's easy or convenient, because your health and your longevity depends on it. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about, how do I think about summer? How do I stay consistent in the summer? How do I do vacations? How do I think through that? And summer includes schedule change, includes vacations, includes more social plans, sometimes late nights, not me, I'm a grandma, I still go to bed at 9 p.m. But it includes kids being out of school, routines getting disrupted. And then before you know it, September comes and we felt like we lost all our momentum. And so we're going to talk about today how to stay consistent without becoming obsessive or rigid and also missing life, because I am the full belief system is it's not an either or game. It's not I'm either prioritizing my fitness or I have fun. It's not I'm either healthy or I completely go off the rails and then I'll get back to it. We get to make this an and game for it, and that is the goal. So first, what we want to do is we want to really redefine and define consistency. And if you go back into the balance plate episode where I talk about fueling, I think the episode is fueling in the morning, how to fuel in the morning. I talk about what consistency is and how oftentimes we misinterpret or define what this is, which completely throws us off in our life. And so consistency does not mean perfect routines. It means staying connected to your standards even when life changes. It's not a perfection or nothing type of mentality. It means, what are certain standards in my life though that I'm no longer willing to negotiate? And it's not this perfect, I work out X amount of times for X amount of hours and do hit these macros perfectly. You ain't gonna do that 24/7. I will tell you that firsthand. But what we will have is standards. You know what? I'm going to train 3 days a week. I'm going to strength train 3 days a week. That is a standard in my life. That's not a rigid routine that if I don't do it on Tuesday by 9 a.m., then I'm done for. We need standards that are flexible through our week, not a rigidity that keeps us shackled to, well, if this doesn't happen by this time, then I'm done for, and I guess I'll start over next week. So what if summer consistency looked a little bit different than what it did in the wintertime or what it did in the fall time or springtime for you? So this is where I want us to be proactive than reactive. Is first, let's think about your summer. Does your routine change at all, your schedule? When are vacations? If you have kids, what is their routine and schedule? Let's think about the structure first. So we can see on our calendar, and okay, you know what? This week I'm out of town. This week the kids are going to be here. This week my schedule's changing. And when we can have that proactive mindset versus reactive, oh my gosh, it's Monday. Oh my gosh, I forgot my kids are going here. Oh my gosh, my schedule is changing. When we can be proactively thinking about what is on my plate and what is on my calendar, it will help you think through some challenges that might arise already before they even come. And as we talked about with summer consistency, I want you to think about what are your non-negotiables? Like, what is your bare bones minimum effective consistency? You might want to train 5 days a week. You might want to do these, but what is this is my minimum. I'm going no lower than this. And that might look like, you know what? I'm going to strength train 3 days. Like, that's my minimum. I want to get 5. My great would be 5, but my good is 3. Good, better, best. My best might be 5, but my good is 3. Doesn't mean that you can't do 5, but it means that I'm not negotiating on my 3. It might be, hey, you know what? I'm going to hit 8,000 steps a day. That's my non-negotiable. I'm going to focus on getting my protein first. I'm going to focus on my breakfast. This is what I tell our crew that go on vacation, is you don't need to necessarily track macros on it. But just because we're not tracking doesn't mean that our habits go out the window. And so that looks like prioritizing that first meal with protein. I'm going to hydrate. I'm going to be able to set still my sleep schedule. Even if my schedule is changing, I'm not negotiating my sleep in this season. And when we can think through consistency of that nature of, well, what is my minimum effectiveness for it? Meaning, what is my X amount of workouts? What is my steps? What is my protein? What is my sleep? We can get out of this all or nothing mentality, meaning I'm either going to do all the things or none of the things. And as an athlete, I grew up being an athlete. This is hard. This is very hard because we're used to having a goal. We're used to doing X things to get to that goal. And we're used to really giving all out effort to that, which is great. It's a great quality to have. However, it's a great quality to have until we start realizing, wow, if I'm off a little bit, then I do nothing. And that helps nobody. That doesn't help you. That doesn't help your mood. That doesn't help your body. So we want to get out of this all or nothing and think, well, something is better than nothing. And that's not necessarily you lowering your standards, but it's allowing you to be flexible with the season that you're in. And there's going to be some seasons, guys, and I'll be very honest with you, where we just got to step up. We got to step up and we got to say, yes, it's busy. Yes, there's a lot going on. Yes, there's a lot of unknown, but I want this. And you know what? I am tracking. I am hitting the gym X amount of days a week. But you should know what season that you're in, and we need to evaluate that first and foremost. So here's some practical tips with summertime is, first of all, controlling your morning. And it doesn't mean all your morning, but controlling the first part of your day. This might be the first 30 minutes you wake up. This might be the first hour you wake up. Can I get some morning movement in? When it's vacation and there's kids and there's a lot, you are not going to be able to control a lot of your day. There's going to be things that happen. There's going to be meetings that get thrown on your calendar. If you're a high performer, if you do a lot for work, after my morning, it is a free for all with what might be not necessarily on my plate that day, but curveballs that might impact my day. I'm a very scheduled, like you'll look at my calendar, I usually am scheduled out that next day, the day before, but that doesn't mean that things are not going to happen that I need to handle. And usually they don't pop up at 5 a.m. in the morning. So I know that for me to have that me time, for me to be able to be my best self for that day, I need to prioritize my morning for me. And so this doesn't need to look like for you, but for me, this looks like I wake up, I get my glass of water, I get some fuel in my body. For me, it's a protein oats, and I start my day with Bible study, and then I go move my body. Okay. Once again, I live a different life than people. I don't have kids yet. I don't have that ability or all the things or responsibilities of people. However, you are able to take control, even if it's the first 20 minutes of your day. You can set those up, and you can do that by pushing down your alarm a little bit, pushing back your alarm a little bit. So morning movement is daily steps. It's not just about how much hard workouts can you do in the week, but am I just getting my daily activity up? If you are starting your fitness journey, that might be start with 5,000 steps. If you see your watch and you're like, man, I'm getting 1,000 or 2,000 steps in a day, you start with 5,000. Don't you be starting 7 days at the gym. That's not going to be beneficial. Or if you are training and you are pretty consistent with that, all right, I'm going to up it to 10,000. I'm going to up it to 12,000. When we can get those daily steps in, that will be helpful. Protein at majority of meals is you might not track and be tracking specific protein numbers or carbs and fat numbers, but no matter what season you're in, it's important to prioritize that protein. And I know you hear all the time on Instagram, you hear all the time on social media, but it's still something to be proactive about. Hydration, strength training on specific days is, yes, walking is important, but even keeping a training routine of 2 to 3 days for 20 minutes, that can be just as beneficial, okay? And I'll plant a seed here, is a lot of women in our community train for our events, and then they're like, well, what's next? And what I don't want to have happen is the fall off the boat after the events. And a lot of women are busy. They're moms. They're in their work a lot, and they have things on the calendar. And so I'm actually in process of creating a training with Kelsey, meaning with me, and I'm doing it with you in the confines of your home for 20, 30 minutes. And that and that in of itself is, we're no longer going to have the excuse of, man, I can't get to the gym. You know what? You can wake up with me and do it in your house, and I will hype you up, but I'm also going to challenge you. And I think that's the excitement that I have for our community of, this isn't just a one and done type of thing. It's not just a train for this event type of thing. It's I want to see you grow, and I want to grow alongside of you. And I'm excited for that, because we get to impact people so much better when it becomes a part of who they are, not just an event that they train for, even though that can be helpful too. Okay. And then just weekend awareness. Obviously, weekends are different. Even when you're not in summertime, they're different. And so how can we have some similar structure? Is how can we start our day and how can we end our day? That might look like a routine like mine, where you start with a Bible study, or you start with journaling, or you start with a routine of getting some protein in your body, something that signals your brain of, this does not change. I've realized for me is my morning and the habits that I have, if I keep those consistent, oh my gosh, the entire day goes better. And that doesn't just mean Monday through Friday. That means Saturday and Sunday. And it doesn't mean that I need to train in the gym 7 days a week, but it does mean that I need to move in some capacity, take Captain for a walk, do my Bible study, think about those things. Like, that is helpful, and it doesn't have to be too much. And so bookend your days, your night and your morning. How can we have 1 to 2 things that we do that signals our brain we're waking up and signals our brain we're going to bed, and those habits stay consistent? How do you handle your vacations without spiraling? Expectation is really important here. Is on this vacation, what am I prioritizing? What am I focusing on? If you're competing in a bodybuilding competition, you're probably tracking your macros. Okay? But if your goal is, I want to feel my body well, but I also want to get the most out of this vacation with the people that I'm with, great. That might mean, what am I doing? Prioritizing my protein, getting a walk in the morning. It might not even look like strength training that week, and that is okay. But we want your expectation to be appropriate for the outcome to be appropriate and for you to be proud of that. So a frame I use with a lot of our clients that do nutrition and training with us is, What is going to make you proud by the end of this vacation? How are you going to show up in this vacation that if you come home and you do these things, or you would have done these things, that you would be proud of yourself for? And that is our barometer. That might look different than what you do day to day, and that is okay. And a few things about social events is obviously there's going to be a lot more things happening. There's going to be more events that you go to, and you got to keep your boundaries on this. You might say, hey, I do want a couple of drinks at this event. Great. But can we think about this proactively than reactively? It's a common through line here. Is a proactive thought is what is going to make me proud by the end of tonight? Well, what's going to make me proud is if I have 2 drinks and I enjoy myself, and that's it. Beautiful. What is going to make me proud at the end of the night? You know what? I'm going to be proud if I don't drink tonight. I'm going to be proud if I don't do what everybody else is tonight. Great, then do that. But we want to set ourselves up thinking through that situation instead of having that situation come and then us feeling out of alignment because we're frustrated about it. Okay? Those feelings of, I can't believe I did that. Those feelings of something feels off. Those feelings of like, ugh, is because we're just not thinking about it ahead of time and we're not being honest with ourselves ahead of time. So if we can think through that, I'm telling you, you are going to go to bed proud, and then you are going to wake up the next day feeling good about not just the body that you're in, but the woman that you're continually becoming, because you are constantly checking in with yourself and say, what is my North Star? Am I staying in alignment with it? And like I said, that's going to look different in different seasons for you. So as we wrap this up here, I want you to close your eyes, and I want you to take a big breath in through your nose, big breath out through your mouth. One more big breath in through your nose, big breath out through your mouth. And I want you to think about, what is going to make me proud that by the end of the summer, I did summer like this? What is going to make me proud that by the end of the summer, I showed up for myself in summer like this? That is your North Star. Give yourself permission that it might look different, and that's okay. Give yourself permission that it might look the same, and that's okay. But we need to identify what that is for you, so then we can stay in alignment and stay accountable towards that thing. What if this is the first summer that you don't lose yourself in the process of it? What if this is the first summer where you realize it doesn't have to be this in and this out game? What if this is the first summer where you show yourself, this isn't just what I do, this is who I am? And that comes from you leading into summer, knowing your standards, you leading into summer, knowing your expectations, you leading into the summer, staying in alignment with you. I love you guys. If you have any questions about this, please shoot me a message at Kelsey Lensman. I've worked with many people in many phases of life and have had many challenges and have had to work through it with people. Well, what about this, Kels? What about this, Kels? Probably I've worked through it with somebody. And so it doesn't mean that I'm always going to give you the right answer. What I try to do is ask you the right questions because you already know what you need to do at the end of the day. Okay? Love y'all. Have an amazing rest of your day, and I'll see you soon.